Hi Gemini, happy January. This is your January 2018, your first forecast of the new year with me, Tarot to Recovery. So let's see what messages we have for you, Gemini, in love and life. Love and life for January, Gemini 2018. Gemini, January 2018. Gemini, January. Gemini Sun, Moon and Rising, January 2018. And hello to all the cross watchers keeping an eye on a Gemini. We see you. Let's see what messages we've got here. The Two of Swords, the Eight of Wands, Eight of Cups, Lovers, Empress, Seven of Pentacles, the Devil. Let's move this so you can see. The Five of Swords, Seven of Cups, and the Tower. Okay. Underneath we have the King of Swords. So Gemini, what is going on here? I feel like some of you have been putting a lot of time and energy into something that you are still waiting to see grow. And I think you may have lost hope in this growing. I feel like something that is very clearly not working. For some reason you're sticking at it. I feel like it's I almost feel like some of you are trying to make something work for the sake of it working. You know that it's not, but I feel like you've walked away from something before and you were in something new. Maybe you met somebody new and you know, you just didn't want to be alone and you wanted it to work, so you put in all you could and it's not turning out the way you'd hoped it was. For some of you, Gemini, you may be dealing with another Gemini person. You may be dealing with a Libra and Aquarius, and some of you may be dealing with a Taurus person. And I'm really sensing that there's been delays in this relationship growing. Maybe it was a work project, maybe it was a job offer, but there's been delays of some kind, and I feel like things haven't moved the way you wanted to, and you're fed up with this situation. I think some of you, it's not moving as quickly and swiftly as you want, because Gemini, you know, ruled by Mercury, it's a quick moving sign. Gemini is actually one of the, from what I've noticed in terms of views on tarot, it's one of the lowest, so it's one of the least watched, and I sort of wondered why, and then I thought about it, and it seems to be that Geminis are, you know, they're just quick-paced going at things, you know, they just keep going. And I feel like with this particular situation, many of you may have really thought this was going to move, and it's not shifting. I feel like there's a deadlock between you and another person, or you and a particular situation in your life, whether it's work, whether it's home. Maybe you'd found your dream home and it fell through. Maybe you thought you'd found your dream job and it fell through, or maybe, I think for most people in this situation, it could have been a love relationship that really didn't turn out the way you'd hoped it would, Gemini, is what I'm getting. I really think it's been delayed, they've been sort of hemming and hawing, waiting around. And I feel like this, for some of you, this has been incredibly disappointing, because I think you thought this was it. You know, for some of you that have met somebody new, I think you maybe thought they were the perfect person. And, you know, maybe you met them too soon for others. Like too soon after a relationship that went wrong. Maybe you went travelling and met someone and then you had to leave. Maybe you were working somewhere and you met someone amazing and then the job fell through and you had to go elsewhere. And now you're separated from someone you really care about. There's definitely a big disappointment that's happened or is currently happening for you, Gemini, this January. And let's see what else we can get from the messages to see how this is all going to play out, because it's only the first card. I go around Celtic cross 3 times so that we can get the full picture and so that we can get additional messages. So Gemini, additional messages for January 2018 in love and life. Messages for Gemini. Gemini, January 2018. Love and life messages. Gemini, January 2018. The Emperor and the Fool. Yeah, so I feel like some of you are dealing with an Aries. There's a very strong Aries energy has just come into the reading. I feel like it was someone who you had to make a lot of allowances for. It was either their way or the highway. I feel like they were quite selfish possibly at some occasions, and you were going along with it, and then you came to loggerheads. I feel like some of you are at a complete standoff with someone who's very strong-willed and very they'll put their needs first is what I'm getting, and I think you're growing a bit tired of it. I feel like you sort of I think some of you have sort of gone exhausted with it. Now, interestingly, there's a water sign has just popped into the picture. So some of you were involved with a water sign, and I'm kind of wondering if has anything actually gone wrong with this water sign? Maybe there's a water sign energy that's in your life and is emotionally available to you, and you're not receptive. Judgment. Yeah, this is going to be, underneath we have the Ten of Swords. So Gemini, I feel like there's something big here, and I'm just trying to figure out, because it's like there's a few different messages for different people coming through. So for some of you, you've recently entered a relationship with a water sign, and it feels like there's a miscommunication, there's a lack of communication, or there's differing views. Geminis and water signs are very different. When you look at a Gemini and a Scorpio person, you can get complete differences in how they approach things. You know, Gemini can be a bit better at communication. Scorpios can be quite closed off. Similarly, if you're dealing with a Pisces person, that's a square, so there can be a bit of friction and a bit of miscommunication on things. That's not to say it can't work, because that's never the case with astrology, you know. But I feel like for some reason there's a bit of miscommunication, and I'm torn between it being with an Aries or a boss. Maybe a boss in work that you're not seeing eye to eye to. Maybe you got a new boss, or maybe you started in a new job where you got a new boss you don't like, and you feel a bit like they're picking on you. Maybe you feel like you're not progressing in your career because of a particular person that's quite stern and steadfast, and you feel like they're a little bit egotistical and a little bit out for themselves. For others of you, you've actually recently started a relationship with a water sign, and I feel like it actually could be, for some of you anyway, I feel like there's a relationship that's been going well. And maybe it was going well and you have started fighting. I feel like maybe they're a bit suspicious of you, Gemini. And you feel a need to defend yourself and your choices. And I feel like maybe for some of you, this person hasn't turned out to be who you'd hoped. And potentially you are thinking of leaving. And I think some of you will leave a particular relationship that's turned a little bit heavy. Because with the Tower and Judgment, you know, that's an ending to something. It's definitely calling time on some aspect of your life. You may, whether it's work, or for some of you it's definitely work. For some of you it's a romantic relationship. Interestingly enough, I think if you're following your guidance on things, I think you'll be able to sense that a particular person in your life, and it could be a relationship that's romantic, it could be a friendship, it could be a boss. For some of you, it could be a Capricorn devil. The devil energy sometimes represents a Capricorn person. But I think your intuition on someone is saying that this person isn't quite right. I think you're feeling this person's a bit obsessive. You're feeling they're a bit controlling. or you're actually feeling like they're a little bit sociopathic, like they don't care, or they don't have empathy. You could be dealing with a very difficult person in some aspect of your life. And I really feel like Capricorn might be a little bit tricky for you this month, Gemini, because it comes up in a battle sense. Maybe you're defending yourself against this person at work, or you're fighting for a position that just isn't happening for you and you're frustrated. And you feel a bit betrayed because that should have been yours. Maybe someone got a job that you wanted. But it's interesting because sometimes when you get a job sometimes when you don't get a particular job that you really want, it's usually at the time just before you find something that suits a lot better. So don't lose hope. There's if it is a job situation or a promotion, it could have gone wrong for something better to occur. You have to keep that positive mindset, because a lot of the time when you keep the faith, your faith is rewarded. So let's see what we've got here, Gemini. Gemini messages, January 2018. January, Gemini. I'm actually sensing that there's a water sign that really cares about you, Gemini. Like a genuine love from somebody. And I'm not sure if you can see it. There's definitely an addictions, there's a person with addictions coming through, and I'm not sure if it's you or if it's somebody else, but someone that, it's like somebody it probably doesn't apply to that many, but I feel like someone went on a party binge and had one hell of a hangover and realised that they weren't supposed to be drinking anymore, or that they need help, or that they can't control their addictions. I feel very strongly at this point that there's a Scorpio energy for some of you. Maybe some of you have engaged in a relationship with a Scorpio person that's actually very, they're emotionally available and all the things that you thought you wanted, but they're a bit too much and you're a bit unsure. For some of you, you're actually going to be advancing quite far in your career, so I feel like for some of you, something has to end for a better job to come along. It's almost like when you get fired, you see a better opportunity, or I feel like some of you went for a position in a new role in the place you already work, and it didn't work, so you decide you want to go off elsewhere and get something better. There's that 10 of Swords again. I'm feeling a very, very strong disappointment for some Geminis and something, and when you get cards like this in tarot, I feel like a lot of people get freaked out. But I think as a Gemini, in the Magician card here, your miss is your mercy. Whatever the situation is, your miss is your mercy. Whoever has disappointed you, whatever has disappointed you, your miss is your mercy. I can't say that enough. I feel like you're going through a tough time to emerge to something better and go on a different path. I feel like things have fallen apart because you were going the wrong way. The tower only occurs when something wasn't built properly. This is that falling to pieces, but it wasn't built on sturdy enough foundations. It wasn't protected enough. It wasn't right to begin with. And I really feel like you were trying to flog a dead horse with something, Gemini. And I feel like it's all coming out now that it wasn't the right thing for you. And I really think you're going to appreciate that in the long run. Because I think whether this was a relationship or a workplace, it's toxic. Like, there's fighting and there's defensiveness and there's suspiciousness, and it's just not feeling right. Something just feels so off about someone or something in your life. And I feel like it's no fun. It's no fun. It's not fulfilling you, and you're going to have to weed it out. If you've been in a relationship for a long time that just isn't working, if you've been waiting for someone to make a commitment and they're just not, if you've been with someone whose personality is selfish and they're putting everything before you, I really think you'd be better leaving that, because who wants that? You know, who wants that person that's just not giving you what you need? Because you're looking for an emotionally fulfilling relationship or an emotionally fulfilling job, and you're looking for someone that matches you intellectually, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. You're smart, you're witty, you've all these mental abilities that a lot of people can struggle to keep up with, but you need someone that has that spark. And I really feel like once you've gotten rid of that deadlock, you know, that situation that's just holding you back, you'll find someone that really fits. And with the Magician here, I feel like, you know, this is a brand new chapter because he's got the infinity sign above his head. And I think whichever person you meet or whichever opportunity you find after this can be something that really goes the long haul. So whether it is a job or whether it is a person, I feel like you're going to make it happen. I think a lot of you are in this funk and this sticky situation where things are taking so long and they're getting so frustrating and your mind is just not working properly. And I think once you get out of that situation, you're going to be so much better, Gemini. I really feel like, as I repeat again, your miss is your mercy. So that's your reading, Gemini, for January. I wish you all the best, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this reading, and comment below if you are a Gemini, if you're Sun, Moon, or Rising, or if you're just cross-watching, because I'm very conscious of the fact that Gemini is quite low in the view skills. So I'd like to know if you're just here cross-watching, or if it is a Gemini, if you are a Gemini, and if it's your Moon or Rising. So let me know in the comments below, and I will see you again in February. Bye bye.